Forget the myth of the propertyless wife. In the Ottoman Empire, a woman's purse was hers alone. She was a fully independent actor. She could buy, sell, or sue without any man's permission. This power was anchored in the court registers. Every transaction created an ironclad legal record. These scrolls reveal women managing vast estates, urban shops, and even entire shipping fleets. In court, the judge treated her as a distinct individual. Her signature held absolute legal weight. She stood before the bench herself. She did not need a husband to speak for her. Her capital often came from the mahr. This mandatory gift became the bride's private property. It was a legal safety net ensuring she had resources in case of divorce or widowhood. Inheritance laws also protected her. Daughters were guaranteed specific shares of every family estate. No father could simply disinherit his daughter. Wealth flowed to women across all social classes. From mansions to humble workshops, women were savvy participants and the silent architects of wealth. They did not just save, they invested. They placed capital into trade and imperial institutions. This created a class of female investors with freedom unseen in the Western world. But owning wealth was only the beginning. To protect their legacy, they used one final, powerful tool. Beyond simple ownership, the Waqf provided a permanent shield for their family fortunes. It turned private riches into a sacred trust that no one could ever touch. By dedicating property to God, these women kept their assets away from the Sultan. This was a smart way to keep their family wealth safe from state seizure. These endowments eventually became the backbone of the city's entire social welfare system. They paid for everything from daily soup kitchens to schools for the poor. Huge complexes started popping up with mosques, libraries, and kitchens all in one. These massive stone buildings changed the look of Istanbul's skyline for good. A woman could actually run her own trust as the primary administrator. That gave her total control over the money and who she wanted to hire. She could even pass the management down to her daughters after she died. It created a line of female wealth that skipped the usual male inheritance laws. You would see beautiful new fountains appearing in almost every neighborhood in the city. They gave out free water to everyone, all paid for by wealthy women. The system was a perfect way to keep property in the family without taxes. Anything put into a trust was considered legally eternal under Ottoman law. The Sultan's daughters were some of the most active founders of these projects. Their influence spread far beyond the capital, leaving a permanent mark on the land. Every little detail was written down in ironclad legal documents held by the courts. These scrolls are proof of a level of independence that we rarely talk about. Beyond these court records, the streets of Galata tell a tangible story of wealth. This neighborhood was the heart of Ottoman trade. It was here that women turned their legal rights into a massive real estate empire. Walking through these alleys, you would have passed dozens of shops owned by women. Wearing traditional silk faraka, they moved through the crowds with a purpose that commanded respect. Many essential businesses, like bakeries and coffee houses, were actually in female hands. These weren't passive investments. These women oversaw maintenance and hired the staff for their shops. Their names appear repeatedly in property deeds, marking their strong presence in the market. They understood location value. A shop near the harbor was worth its weight in gold. Down by the docks, the scale of investment grew, where massive stone warehouses dominated the skyline. Women owned these structures where traders stored spices, silks, and expensive imported grain. Rent collection provided a steady income that was entirely independent of their husbands. Every silver coin exchanged was a testament to their sharp business acumen and negotiation skills. Galata's architecture reflects this influence, with sturdy buildings commissioned by these female patrons. These structures have survived for centuries, standing as silent monuments to the women who financed them. From the hills to the shores, their reach was extensive and undeniably powerful. Owning property here meant holding a stake in the most cosmopolitan corner of the world. Inside these shops, the hum of trade supported their own personal and family ambitions. These investment patterns show a deep understanding of urban development and city growth. As the sun set, the value of these commercial assets only continued to rise. Red wax seals on these deeds were unbreakable, protecting the rights of future daughters. Every carved wooden beam and leaded window in these districts owes something to their vision. This commercial prowess eventually led to even greater influence over the city's future. Their financial independence paved the way for social standing as the city's power brokers. These transactions reveal a world where women were truly the masters of their destiny. This economic power was the result of legal precedent and very sharp business strategies. Economic agency did not just stay in the ledgers. It transformed the very shoreline of the Bosphorus. Wealthy Ottoman women became the primary architects of the city's most iconic summer retreats. These seaside mansions, known as yalus, represented the absolute pinnacle of prestige and architectural innovation. For a princess or a high-ranking noblewoman, a yalu was far more than a mere home. It was a bold statement of independence and a center for immense social influence. Inside, the layout was carefully designed to maximize the cooling breeze from the flowing water. High ceilings and wide windows invited the sapphire blue of the strait into every room. Every surface reflected the owner's sophisticated taste and her significant financial resources. Intricate woodwork and imported fabrics created a sanctuary of luxury away from the city heat. Arrival at these grand palaces was almost always by water, adding to their mystical allure. Graceful rowing boats would glide directly into private boathouses built into the foundations. These women personally oversaw the construction and design of these massive, complex estates. They negotiated with master builders and selected the finest materials from across the vast empire. The gardens were equally important, featuring tiered terraces and hidden cool marble fountains. Magnolia and jasmine scented the air, creating a private paradise behind high stone walls. By the 19th century, the Bosphorus was a gallery of female-driven architectural wonder. Each mansion told a unique story of the woman who built it and the legacy she left behind. But the influence of these royal women extended far beyond their private summer residences. The power of the sultanas was built on more than just prestige. It rested on a foundation of immense wealth. As the highest-ranking women in the empire, valide sultans controlled vast revenues from across the imperial lands. They owned extensive estates, collected taxes from entire provinces, and managed their own private treasuries with great care. This was no mere formality. These women were astute managers of capital and serious investors. Much of this wealth was funneled back into the city through charitable endowments known as waqfs. Through these foundations, they commissioned grand mosques, modern hospitals, and free schools for the public. By funding these massive works, they secured their names in the architectural and social history of Istanbul. Beyond the palace walls, other women were also carving out their own economic niches in society. Wealthy ladies in elite households managed their own dowries and personal inheritances completely independently. Imperial law protected their right to own property, separate from any assets held by their husbands. This financial autonomy was not reserved solely for the high-born aristocracy or the royal family. Freed women, once enslaved in domestic service, often became property owners in their own right. Upon their manumission, many received a financial settlement or a legacy from their former masters. Court records from this era show these women actively buying and selling houses in the city center. They often acted as landlords, managing rental income and reinvesting their profits back into local trade. Some operated small home businesses or worked as specialized artisans within the flourishing textile trade. Legal documents, known as sigils, reveal a surprisingly high number of independent female property holders. These scrolls list houses, shops, and even productive vineyards owned by women of various backgrounds. Even in a patriarchal society, the marketplace remained a dynamic space for female agency and growth. A woman's signature on a deed carried full legal weight in the imperial courts of the day. This economic participation created a social ladder that many ambitious women were determined to climb. From the gold of the harem to the modest coins of a freedwoman, Money meant social mobility. But managing a fortune required more than just gold. It required a deep mastery of the law. Beyond the legal scrolls, these women etched their power into the very landscape of Istanbul. They built massive mosque complexes that still crown the city's famous 7 hills today. Public fountains, once the lifeblood of every neighborhood, stand as silent monuments to their generosity. Water was a sacred gift, and these marble structures offered it freely to every passerby. Their charity extended to the sick, funding grand hospitals that provided care for the city's poor. Within these walls, medicine and compassion were financed by royal and noble dowries. It was a social safety net built on the initiative of powerful female benefactors. Every tile and carved stone tells a story of a legacy intended to last forever. These were not just religious acts, but strategic investments in the city's social fabric. A noble woman in a silken faraka gazes out over the skyline she helped to shape. She knew her name would live on through the prayers of those she served. This architectural footprint proves that Ottoman women were the true architects of public life. As the sun sets over the Golden Horn, the silhouettes of their domes remain. They transformed a city of wood into a city of stone, enduring through centuries of change. Soup kitchens provided meals for the hungry, a tradition of service that defined their reign. Even today, walking through these gates feels like stepping into a preserved history. The legacy of the Sultanate of Women is written in mortar and marble. Their foundation deeds are more than dusty papers, they are blueprints for a society. We walk past their gifts every day, often unaware of the hands that built them. Which of these grand landmarks would you visit first to feel this history? Tell us below and subscribe for more hidden stories.